go live if that
Okay,
works.
okay. Let me do
Hey,
this
we're
now.
live.
What is it now?
Oh, hey, today we're joined by Lex Luthor, everybody. Let's run the credits and Lex will start talking.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Road Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, today we're joined by Lex Luthor. Rob Vega couldn't make it today. What are you white supremacist this week? What's the story with this haircut? So
Sure. Yeah,
sure.
why not?
Good.
Why not?
Anything
It
for
is the-
views.
It is the way. It is the way we fight back. Come on,
my
Stephen.
God.
Listen to
my
me very
God.
carefully. Oh yeah, it's very. It's just maintenance free. What can I tell you? It's nice. Yeah.
Very, very nice.
There's an actor. Oh, he's actually a rapper, but he was in a great series called Silo. And the guy's name, I don't know what his real name is, but his stage name is Common.
Oh, I know Common. Sure. He's a very common guy. Yeah, I got it.
So
Yeah. All right. That's nice.
I'm
Well,
going.
listen,
I'm going for the common look.
the fact that you look like a giant Q-tip is very nice. So it's a lot of people can't whatchamacallit, can't pull that look off, and you're one of them. But anyway, so
Thank you. I don't know. I've got a beautiful head. I got a beautiful head. So what can I tell you? I wanted to show it off. Yeah.
You do. You that is the kind of thing that you just want to take a towel to and go. And it's just for the people on the podcast that can't see it. So I like it. That's because I'm into weird things. Anyway, so what's going on? Mommy and daddy are fighting.
Oh God. You know what? I just want to say this.
Yeah.
I
Go
thought
ahead.
we were going to talk about for about 5 minutes and then I threw up. No,
Okay.
just the world right now. I just want to say, if you're watching this and you're sick and tired of all the crap on the left and the right, in the US, in the UK, Europe, wherever, guess what? You're not alone. We're all sick and tired of it. We're done with it. I'm almost, when you've shouted so much or you've laughed so much and your jaw starts to hurt.
Yeah.
That's how my brain feels right now. I'm literally tired beyond fatigue with all the bullshit, because there's so much garbage being spoken. You just go, I don't know where to start. I don't know where. I don't know my ass from my head. I don't know what. No one is making any sense. Everyone is completely right, and they're completely right, and it's ridiculous. It's just gone mad.
Let me just say this to help you out.
There is too much noise.
Yeah.
There's too much noise in the world right now. I don't know how anybody can think, because if you take a step back and you look at what's going on in the US and the whole Musk Trump thing, I go, I think most people are just like, I don't care. I don't care. Just make sure my the security of my country is good. My services are delivered. You use my taxes for whatever. My community is safe. I can go on holiday, vacation sometime. I can watch my favorite TV show. I can buy my favorite food. I don't go bankrupt. God, that's all people want. They just, good God, leave us alone. Stop with this political crap. I watched a thing the other day, and the guy, we've said this before, but it's worth repeating.
Sure.
There were these people with these suits in these fancy buildings called politicians that take our money and pretend to give a shit. Well, they don't. And all they do is they find things that divide us, and they break us apart, and they force us away because it serves them. Look, I don't know what the solution is. I don't. But this isn't it. This is not the way humanity should be working. Yes, you need a single person or a committee to represent your interests in your community, your state, your province, your country. This is why we have these people, because we either don't have the training or the background or the inclination. So we say, why don't you go and tell them what trade deal we need, and then come back but do it. You work for me. You work for me. You work for me. But it's it's like we said a couple of podcasts ago. There's this. It's like people elect a warrior, a
Right.
chief, a king. For God's sake, king, you've got a king, not in name, but in practically every other sphere.
Right.
He is a king right now. The way he operates, there is no arguing, there is no discussion, there is no disagreeing in a healthy way. Damn it. No two people. I grew up with some twins that went to the school that I was at, and they tried so hard to be different. The one was left-handed, the other was right-handed, which is interesting. But in every way, they even went to separate fancy schools to make sure that they didn't. They wanted to assert their independence, and they just gravitated toward each other. But they were still very different in many ways. They would argue a lot. We would play a lot of sport. I was at the one school with the one twin, and the other twin went to the other school, and we would play against each other in rugby, in cricket, or whatever. And there would be differences, which is fine. It's great. It's good. The fact that two twins don't want to be the same, that they wanted to be different, they wanted to be their own person, that's great. Stephen, you and I, we would definitely want to be different. We don't all want to be made of the same goo and the same stuff. It's fine. We mustn't agree on everything. Good Lord. But you have a situation where everybody must agree. They can't express any kind of dissent or difference of opinion or whatever. Or if I say to you, the way you handled something, perhaps that was a little excessive. No, why should it be excessive? I'm allowed to do what I want to do. Mate, of course yes, but you can. But there are better ways. Can we chat? Can we find a more? My God, I just get tired thinking about it. And I think to myself, people around the globe, whoever's watching this, let me tell you something. Stephen has moved around the world. I've lived around the world. I've moved around the world. I've been to, I don't know, about 40 different countries. Within the US, I've seen, as we said, over 30 states. I've gone through Africa. I've been across Europe. Yay, whoopee twang for me. Because my goal, subliminally, was I believed, and I still do, the greatest education is travel, meeting other people. But I will say this. You and I can talk about this for hours, and people will get bored to death, and they need they've got pensions to collect and teeth that need replacing. What I'm saying is, the thing that I've realized is that as different as we think we are, we're all kind of the same. We're different shades of the same thing. Well, we're better than you, and we did this, and we won the war. No, for God's sake, it doesn't matter. Why do you have to win everything? Why do you have to do that? You have these. We have sport to satisfy that. Okay, we have that. But if you look at sports, for instance, you have local competitions within a country, and everybody's like, I mean, Boston and Chicago. But when the US plays, now we together, and that's all it is. It's a little bit of digging here and a bit of ribbing there. But for the love of God, you're not in the team. You're actually not one of the players. It isn't really you. Okay,
that's true.
The game. You didn't really, but hey, fine. It's fine. And just to clarify, professional sports are just that. So you've got players from the other side of the globe playing for your local team. So they aren't really you. They wear your jersey. So, but whatever. I'm saying that we have this need to argue and fight. And when things are peaceful, we have to create a problem. It's the weirdest. It's tiring. Oh my God, it's tiring.
But we have something for you. We have a gift for you, because Steve Bannon, I don't know if you saw this, and this just made me feel with such joy that we talked about it on the Cigar Show Saturday. We're going to tell you this today. I think the guys on the Cigar Show are definitely watching just to see your reaction. Steve Bannon says that Elon Musk came here illegally under a student visa.
I heard that.
And we have to now get rid of him I was like, yes. And so
and
apparently
deport him.
it's deporting him. So it's either he's coming back to South Africa
No,
or I guess he's
no,
going to Russia. So I'm not
no,
sure where, but
no.
he's leaving. So there you go. Mommy and daddy had a fight and they're
All
kicking
right,
out mommy.
all right. So let me say that I watched that and I thought, cool. I bet you if I drilled into Steve Bannon's background, not that
Yeah,
I'd really want to. Sorry, that
I
really
wouldn't do that.
sounded bad. If I
Yeah.
drilled into Steve, oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, okay. His
Yeah.
background, my
Yes, yes.
background, your background, we'd
Anybody.
find stuff.
Yeah.
We'd find stuff. Okay,
Of course.
we have all bent rules. We've all done stupid shit in our lives.
I agree.
So I'm saying that if Steve Bannon wants to bring that up, fine.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about you. And I don't have any facts at hand, by the way, but I'm sure if we drill down on him, didn't this guy spend time in prison?
Yeah.
Okay. So not really a bastion of justice and righteousness. So maybe, Steve, you might want to shut up. Okay.
You're talking about Steve Bannon.
Yeah, I am. About
because I'm the other Steve too.
no, not that one. Not that one. No, no. Stephen.
Steve Bannon, right?
But what I'm saying is, look, I'm not the thing about Musk, which is interesting, is there are things that he says and the way he says things that are very, from here. I get it.
Yeah.
I almost, it's weird. He'll say things. I almost understand. It's odd, but I understand his insecurity because I've known people like him in this country. Right. I know what he's talking about. He used to wander around using the word pedo. Remember that? He used to go pedo. That was the thing he used to say a lot. Pedo. Oh, the guy's just a pedo. And people would get offended over there and say, oh, he's calling me a pedophile. Well, in his defense, because Musk and I are basically the same age. Yeah, I guess we kind of grew up in the same country, which is odd. In a different part of the country, I just want to be clear. But yeah, and we used to use that word a lot.
Yeah.
As a I guess a throwaway insult. Ah, you
like
stupid pedo. You stupid pedo. You idiot. You ass. You jerk. Right. And I remember when he started using that word, I thought, oh, Elon, they're not gonna take it in the way that you mean it. So it's like, here's an example. So for instance, if you walk around the US talking about people being colored, you're going to have a problem. Big problem. I know that. Yeah. But in South Africa, colored is fine. It's absolutely acceptable. And the people that are colored are not what you think they are. So we've discussed this. We established this. So words have different meanings and connotations in different countries.
Correct.
So I often, when he says things, I mean, Peter is an example, but he'll say other things and I go, oh shit, they're not going to take it the way you think. Right. And I look at him, forget his $300 billion for a minute. I see him dancing around on stage, snorting all that crap, apparently he was all drugged up.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound like I feel sorry for the guy. I'm not sorry. I don't feel sorry for him, but I almost understand how uncomfortable he feels.
Why?
He feels, well, because why? Okay. I don't, for the record. I could give two shits, but I've been in that existence, in that apartheid existence. Okay. Right. I lived a bit of the apartheid during that time. I remember it and how isolated it felt living here. I mean, I came here, as we've established, when I was a young boy. So I didn't get the whole experience, but I got a chunk of it for probably 10, 15 years. And living here was weird because a lot of the TV stuff and things we watched all came from the US and the UK. So we got that cultural influence. That's why we can all do the accent so well, because we watched all that stuff. And that's why it's so hard for you, because you didn't watch this stuff. It's as simple as that. Okay. So that's why we understood. We grew up with a blend of American and British culture. Right? So we almost felt weirdly, well, I was part of it, but even the people that weren't still felt connected to it. It was something people wanted to be, that's good. They make those great shows and the food's interesting and they got all that stuff and it's all big and it was like glitz and glamour, but we're not part of it. We're not part of it. They don't like us because of apartheid. And they make those movies like Lethal Weapon 2, where Mel Gibson stands there with a white supremacist sign and whatever, and we go, oh yeah, shit, that's bad. We got to get rid of apartheid. It sucks. These old people and these stupid rules. Anyway, and no bands would perform in South Africa at that time. So we had that disconnect. Although we loved the music, we could never see the shows unless me and you visited the UK and you could see them. But anyway, that's another thing. What I'm saying is, it was very cut off, very isolated, very over there. You felt that. You felt that separation, which was kind of the point. Okay. It was almost like an international apartheid. Right? Separated. Absolutely understand the reasons for it. Good. The pressure, in my view, should have been applied a lot earlier, but that's another topic. Anyway, so what happened is when things opened up, and obviously Mandela, we call him Madiba, when he was released, and things sort of normalized, and we had the elections, and then, hey, South Africa, come back into the international community. There you go. Good to have you back. And hey, don't do that apartheid thing. Ooh, okay, bad. Glad you got rid of it. Oh, look, you've got Madiba as a president. You're welcome. Come back, join the party. Hey, not sure everything's forgiven, but let's just see how we go. All right. So South Africa sort of got assimilated kind of back into the international community, but it left the people, as I say, I'm not part of it, but I understand it. And Elon was definitely part of it. There was this almost a little bit of an inferiority complex. Like this was all normal. The Western world was all normal. And someone had opened the door and said, all right, you can come back in now. Hi, everybody. I'm here. Sorry, I'm white. Sorry about that. And yeah, oh, you've got nice stuff. And do you still like us? And I know we talk weird and hello. And I remember the first time when I went to the States, 1996, just after the Oklahoma bombing. I actually went, a mate of mine worked on a radio station in Oklahoma, and we exchanged emails or whatever. And I went and stayed with him. It was very cool. Did a show there and everything. But I remember feeling very, I wouldn't say I felt inferior, but it felt a little awkward. I had a lot of explaining to do. Yeah, because people had been cut off. Rightly, the country was sanctioned, was cut off. So a lot of people had all sorts of ideas about South Africa, what it was, what it could be, and weirdly enough, my immigration attorney, his brother, was married to an African American woman. So we had some really interesting conversations about Mandela and Madiba. And you know what she said to me, which was very interesting. I'm not sure what she thought I would be, because I obviously wasn't entirely South African, and I had a mother who had, as I've said to you, sent me to a private school so that I wouldn't be in a government school and, be part of that whole thing. Anyway, so I had a really strange upbringing, a topic for another podcast. But there it was, and I was sat across from her, and she said to me, "What do you think of Mandela?" And I said, as a matter of fact, what was her name? Her name was Brianne. I said, Brianne, as a matter of fact, I've met him. The radio station where I worked at, we did a broadcast. I was living in Cape Town. We did a broadcast from one of these places, Mitchell's Plain, I think it was, in Cape Town, or a crossing. And I was there, and I introduced him to the crowd, and I got to meet him. And that's where I learned to do the, how are you? Good evening. My name is Madiba. Thank you very much. And I did that impression for him, and he absolutely loved it. He laughed. It was great. And I'd gotten to meet him. And there was this moment where she went, he was a terrorist. And I went, oh, shit. Because I had thought mistakenly, and this is going to sound bad, I had thought that if you were a person of color in America, you would think of Madiba or Mandela as a good thing. So I was really thrown by that. And I thought, well, no, Brianne. I mean, and there were things that happened, but he was fighting apartheid, and
Yeah.
well, that was a really bad way to do it. And I went, what? Where do I go with this? I'm check it out. I'm a white guy from South Africa in the States in 1996. Sitting across from me is an African-American woman telling me that the icon of the anti-apartheid movement was bad and a terrorist. I went,
Right.
what do you do with that?
Yeah.
So that was my first, and I thought, wow, this is I don't think I know America very well. I haven't, what am I missing? What am I missing? But I digress. So it was a very awkward conversation. Anyway, I taught her things, and she taught me things too, and I guess we got somewhere with the conversation. Right. But I realized I know shit about the people in America. What the hell? Because we'd been told one thing, and then I started to realize, so therefore they must have been told something else about us, about what we thought, what we believed. So at some point, I'm going to come across someone, they're not all like Brienne, who is going to go, you're a Nazi, you're a this. Right. In truth, it's never happened. I never actually had that. It's never happened.
With the new haircut, it could happen. So
could it happen? It might. Okay. Hang on. I definitely got rid of the swastika. Sorry.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Actually, you look really good with the haircut. I'm busting your chops, but it's a good look for you.
Well, one of the ladies that works at the station where I am, she is a Zulu woman, and she said to me, well, a lot of, I don't want to be demeaning, but a lot of black folk, guys, actually, they shave their heads. It's more common. Sure. And she said to me, you should keep it that way. And I went, well, my wife is not too happy about it, so probably not. But she kept going on uncomfortably. She said, oh, you look so handsome. Okay, you said that 10 times this morning already. You should probably stop saying that. But
I think she wants some white. She wants some white meat. You know what I'm saying? She wants a ham sandwich, my friend.
Oh well, sorry, baby. Sorry. I mean, I don't mind, but no, sorry, I'm taking. But all right. So getting back to the inferiority complex, I think a lot of people, a lot of white folk. I can't speak for black folk. I'm not going to do that. But a lot of white folk in the country, sort of my age and maybe a little older, all knew that this thing was bad. So they carried, I guess, in a way, a bit of a guilt thing with them. I didn't carry that, but a lot of people did. And they're like, "Ooh, that was really fucked up." And it was terrible. I mean, I can't even imagine, and I don't pretend to.
So you think Elon has guilt? He's carrying some guilt?
No, let me say this. So what it meant is you'd been let into the club, and you were a lot of folks were very aware of the fact that this was all better. This is all better than where I'm from. So if you go into an area or arena or a situation where something that you've looked up to, you go, oh wow, that's so great, and then they let you in. You go, hi, God, you guys have just got so much stuff, and it's so big, and sorry about the stuff, and okay, and hi, we're here, and can we play? Can we trade? Can we, I mean, I am possibly, what's the word, generalizing, but I think a lot of folk felt that. It's a combination of guilt. It's a combination of, I'm in the big boys club now, and they've done so much cool stuff. And even on a personal note, when I lived in the States for those 3 years, and I lived in New York City, I was very aware. This is New York City. I don't know about the rest of the country. New York City, you are very aware of the fact that there is some good shit here. There's some amazing talent. And there's also some crap. But it can be intimidating. It can be very intimidating. I don't know whether it's my background or whether what it was. As we've said, on a serious note, I felt very connected to New York. I still think it's just, for all its warts and roses and whatever, it's just an real place. No, there are more beautiful places on earth, sure, but I don't care about them. I love a place because of the people, and I had such a straight up, authentic, real connection with the people, and I loved's not the right word. I resonated, I connected with what they were about.
Sure.
And it's got all colors, all flavors. No one gives a shit what you look like or whatever. And if you do, you're out. No one cares about it. No one's got time for that. And it's such an exercise in what people can be. You know, that whole thing, if you've made it there, you've made it anywhere. And that is true.
They should make a song.
Shit, they should. And it should be how you do it. You know, your part. Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for it. But I'm saying, if you've come from a little tiny third world sort of ish country like South Africa, and you get on a plane and you go to New York and go, shit, whoa, okay, Now I love it, I enjoy it, but I'm not typical of, and I've been told this of most people from here that go there. Not at all. They just go, God, this things are so expensive and the building's so big, and we don't have that kind of talent. And now getting back to Elon, I'm not saying, I don't presume to say that he's intimidated anymore, but let me say this. If you are truly not intimidated and you're very happy with who you are, here's the thing. You don't have to make that much noise. And if I look at some of the most successful people in the world, names aside, I'm not going to get into it, they don't make a lot of noise. They just get on with being really good at what they do. They don't have to prove shit to anybody. They don't indulge in tit for tat things with people. Hell, I could be describing two people now. You know who I'm talking about. The thing about being a man is you realize, certainly as a father, you realize at some point your kids might even hate you, but one day they'll love you if you're there for them. It's part of being a goddamn man, a father. You just, no, not everyone's going to like you. They may never like you. For God's sake, deal with it. Just deal with it. Let people disagree with you or agree with you. That's nice too. It's fine. But you don't have to engage. You don't have to do that. That's what I'm saying. If you are happy with who you are as a person, if you really are, you don't have to hey, no, I'm not that way. No. It doesn't matter what someone who disagrees with you thinks. Not really. That's their opinion. That's fine. You don't have to respond to it. You don't have
egos
to
are so big, though. That's why their egos are so big.
What I'm saying is, Stephen, if you feel inferior, but you're trying to tell everybody how great you are, that's what you get. So that's why I'm saying, yes, he may be worth $300 billion. Mate, if I was worth $1 billion, you wouldn't hear from me. I would be in the background somewhere doing something you wouldn't even know about it. Why do I have to keep putting myself in a public space and going, yeah, but I'm this and that? I don't have to. I've got $1 billion. What do I care?
Most billionaires I know,
the joy of having $1 billion. He's got 300 of them. So what the actual fuck is he constantly feeling the need to prove himself? Why do you have to do that?
He has a little schmeckle. But he has a little schmeckle. That's
why I didn't want to talk about the school today. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But one, we know he has a little schmeckle. That's why he has 47 kids. He's trying to prove something. Two, most of the billionaires that I know, whatever he's got, he's trying to colonize Mars on his own. Most of the billionaires I know, you wouldn't know they're billionaires.
Correct.
Like they like when we go out, we always laugh at it. It's like the nouveau riche money will show up, and they'll be like blah blah blah, and we'll sit there and we'll chuckle, and we'll just be like, we could buy this guy 50,000 times over and still have money left over. And it's sort of like there's no reason, and there's a difference between nouveau riche and old money. Old money knows they have money. They know what to do. Like they may have a nice house, whether the house is 200,000 or 200 million, makes no big, but they don't tell everybody. And if they have more than one car or a car collection, they're not putting it on YouTube or Instagram. It's just like, this is their car collection. Their friends may know about it. Good enough. But all these nouveau riche people, and Elon's nouveau riche, is basically look at me, look at me, look at me. And to an extent, also Bezos does that, Zuckerberg to an extent. They all kind of do this. And Barry Diller said something a couple weeks ago on Bill Maher. He says, Barry's got some money. And Barry's like, the new rich aren't doing anything. The old money people are the ones who still to this day build hospitals and parks and whatever, because they
Yeah.
realize that you have to take care of the general public. Because if you don't, that's a bad thing. So this mommy and daddy fighting, which I find kind of humorous, is like a bunch of high school girls calling each other out, but they're doing it on Twitter. Like Trump goes, "I'm going to take away all your contracts." Then Musk is like, "Oh yeah, well you're in the Epstein files." And then Trump is like this, and then he's like this, and then Bannon's like, "We're going to deport him." And then Stephen Miller's like this, and I'm like,
God.
"Oh my God!" It's like a little sorority, and I'm thinking to myself, you orange guy, Mr. President, you're supposed to be running the most powerful nation in the world. Now, Xi would disagree, and that's okay, because Xi's promised me a panda. So anything Xi says, I'm good with. Musk, on the other hand, you've got 300 billion or whatever it is, and just because you paid and bought a politician for 240 million, what did you think was going to happen? And I said this back on Lost Dollar Business Club in January. What happens when mommy and daddy fight? And this is what happens. And so
Yeah.
we become the laughing stock of the world. Elon becomes the laughing stock of the world. So the president and Elon are having a lover's quarrel. And whether they're in on it together or not makes no difference. But it's hysterical to me that the richest guy in the world, by what the public knows is rich, there's richer people. But what the public knows is rich, is fighting with the president of the United States over really stupid shit. And he's saying the president should be impeached and this, and they're going back and forth. And I'm like, and we're threatening to kill his contracts and Space Link and blah, 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 and all this crap. And I'm just kind of like, huh. So we no longer have adults in the room. We have television stars, people that may have a lot of money, but who have no brains.
Oh,
And it's kind of like, it's embarrassing as a planet. If I was an alien, and just talk of that, I would literally be like, we can get rid of these people. They're the dumbest things, and if they created us, they'd be like, this is like the worst thing we ever created. It's like
But
sugar baby Barbie. Let's get rid of it. So it's like we're done.
Stephen, what this is going to sound really patronizing, but
So,
I don't see America like that at all. I don't think
okay.
I see a bunch of clowns in a Congress circus. I don't feel, from my experience of America and the people I know, most of them are going, oh, for the love of God, that this isn't what they want. This isn't what
Right.
they are. You can't build an economy like that and be that idiotic. So what the sad thing is, what is in Congress right now, the president you have right now, for me as an outsider, but someone who has a very stalking issue or obsession with America, and I admit
Right.
that. I think it's a
know.
great. You don't have to make it great. It is great. It's phenomenal what has been achieved. You grew up in the West Coast, the East Coast, North, South. The people are phenomenal. I just go, those are the people that I've met, and that's the people that are running. They don't connect. For
Right.
me, I don't see that. I don't conflate the US with Trump and Musk at all. Not at all.
Okay.
And the Hegseths and all that. That's just some shit show going on in Washington. And I'm just hoping, for the love of God, I'm hoping that people are going, all right, we fucked up. Let's not do that again. Let's vote for someone else.
Good luck with that.
Whether it happens or not, I don't know. I know it's naive, but I didn't encounter that.
Right.
I mean,
We didn't have it then.
I've seen people. I've traveled to. I've been in North Carolina. I've been in California. I mean, I've been in Vermont. I've been in Florida, Texas, where you are, Oklahoma. I've been across that country, and I sort of understand why the people that have been elected are being elected, but it stems more from an emotional reaction as opposed to sense. I think there is a majority of people that need to do some homework. You've got the brains, you've got the skill, you've got the talent, and just for the love of God, get these people out, because they represent the worst of what the US is, and that is not what the US is. It's not about that. I'm not saying, for instance, though, that you should have open borders. I'm
Right, I
not
agree with that.
saying I get all the concerns. You gotta make sure you don't just let any wanker into the country. And I've seen, and I'm talking about immigrants. And here's
Right.
looking at you, Elon. No, I'm
No, you're not kidding.
It's got to be. People say the immigration system in America needs work. No, it doesn't. I've been a part of it. I have got work visas. I've gone through that, and it's very well organized. You just have to make sure you use that legislation. It is fine. It does the right job. It's been drafted by very smart people over the years. You've got visas on every letter of the alphabet. I'm the O one, by the way. Oh, that's me. But I'm saying, just follow that. I had to prove all kinds of things. How come you've got people in there? So, for instance, let's just pull one out of the hat. There was that idiot, and he was an idiot. That Egyptian fellow who went doing whatever he was doing with his family. And I'm going, how does he get into the US with his entire family? There's 5 of them, and I had to literally submit DNA of every one of my members of family. I've only got 2 kids. He's got 5. I had to come in with degrees and prove myself to the Screen Actors Guild and God knows what, and submit work. He doesn't have that. How the fuck did he get in? And I see all these people being let in. So I get that. I get the right side where people go, why are you letting all these people in? Good point. But by the same token, it is also supposed to be a country of a genuine refugee applications, genuine, like the Afghanis who helped the US in the Gulf War. Yes, I'm in favor of that personally. Yes, these people who put themselves on the line, their families on the line. Yes, but do the homework, do the due diligence, find out who people are. It's not that hard, because I had to go through it, and I can tell you it was a ball ache, but I got it. I respected it. I paid my fees. I got my visa. That's the way it should be. But for everyone, everybody should be like that. Enforce the damn thing. Don't just let people in because you feel sorry for them, or just whatever they tell you some sob story. No, don't do that. So that's when I push to the right. But on the left side, I go, there are genuine people. There are genuinely people around the world who are facing God knows what. Now, do some homework. Find out what they're really about. Don't research it on YouTube. Make sure you've got your information. The lot that came from here, we've had this discussion. They're not, they something, and I'm sure they've gone through something, but they're not refugees. Look up the word refugee. Are there problems in South Africa? Yes. But the bottom line, what I want to say is, and I'm sure Americans must be tired of this, the bullshit that is being spoken by every flavor of politician is unbelievable. You don't know whether you're coming or going. And sort of circling back to those lot that came from here, highlighting the whole immigration thing. How do you just let a big chunk of people in? Oh, they were vetted and they were this and that. Okay, so they were vetted. But if you had vetted them, you would have found that the facts don't match. They don't match. We know that. So who's doing the vetting? I'm not saying they didn't have a valid case, but the things that they were allegedly admitted on are not true. They're just not true. They've got other things that they're worried about, as we've mentioned in other podcasts, and those are valid things to worry about. We have some interesting employment laws here, which are not good. They do prejudice people like me. I understand that. Then look at that. But don't come with this crap that white people are just getting murdered in the streets of South Africa. Well, that's not true. It's just not true. Are people getting murdered? Yes, but they're black, they're white, they're whatever. There is a crime problem.
But here, the immigration issue that we have, and this is where I do agree with the Trump administration, is that when you come here illegally or you're part of a gang, and that's what they're trying to deport, I'm like, I
make
agree
sure
with
they
that.
are.
Right, you have to. You can't deport a U.S. citizen because he has tattoos and you made a mistake or whatever. That's bad. So you do have to do your homework.
Yes,
what I think is interesting,
and
I'm okay with all that.
Go.
That's fine. But the funny part is there was a town in, I guess, Missouri, when they all voted for Trump, and then when the ICE people came for Mary, the waitress, right? Have you
Yes.
seen this? And I'm
Yes.
like, and they're like, we didn't think they were going to take Mary, and it's sort of like,
Oh my
well,
God.
it's like,
She's so cool. Why are you taking
well,
our Mary?
right, right, because it's like because now we're done with the gang members, I'm assuming, and but Stephen Miller was like, we need 3,000 deportations a day, so that's probably also why. So now that they deported a waitress, which okay, it is what it is. They've gone to Home Depot and gone after day
I
laborers
know.
and everything.
Home
And I'm like,
Depot.
and
Come
listen, I'm like,
on.
and I'm thinking, okay, you Americans voted for getting rid of illegal immigrants. Now,
Good.
even
That's
and that
good.
right, I'm good with this.
That's
And Trump
good.
said he's going
Yes.
to start with
No
the gang
problem.
members. So now, if we've gotten rid of all these gang members, okay. So
Wow.
my mind to the American people that voted for that is, did you think that Mary, the waitress who's here illegally, wasn't going to get deported? I mean, like, so it's kind of like, how do I put it? Everybody wants to eat the chocolate cake, but they don't want to gain weight. So
Yeah.
when they made the cake, they didn't think through what this really means. They're just like, yeah, he's only going to import bad
So
people and gangsters and this and that, not normal people.
so you're the guy who eats all the fat and then you have the Diet Coke.
Right.
The,
So,
the, the
and that
logic doesn't the weird thing
is,
for me is I look at this and I go, I get we've discussed this. I
yeah,
understand a lot of the things that Trump is upset about.
yep,
Absolutely. The illegal immigrants, the gang, if
right,
there are gang people, get rid of them. If they
yep, I agree.
if there are in fact people coming over and raping people, then sure.
Right.
Um,
Get rid of them.
but make sure that is what they are. That's all
Right.
one is saying. Make sure and don't wow, and that thing going on in LA is extraordinary. I look at this and I
Yeah.
go, okay, look, to be fair, I am operating on media information. So maybe I don't have all the facts. I must just make sure that we're clear on that. There may be
Yeah.
things going on there that we don't know, but it seems like a little bit of an overreach. It seems like a bit of an overreaction. That's me looking at right news sources and left news sources and just kind of
Right.
blending the two and seeing what's going on. But again, don't really know. It seems like maybe there could have been a better way of
Mhm.
handling it. Fortunately, as far as I know, as of the date, wherever we now, I don't know. I don't think anybody has been. No one's lost their life,
Yeah.
which is well. Let's just hope that stays. Let's just hope that
Oh,
stays.
but let me
The
tell you the
thing,
difference between
yeah,
LA and so this weekend, Austin at the state
yeah,
capitol had
yeah,
lack of a better, a rally. And people with signs and ICE agents and this the truth. Everyone was there. And they stood on the Capitol and they da 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 da. And there's a guy with a blowhorn and they were just out slogans for like an hour. And when it was over, they all left. Nobody burnt a car. Nobody flipped over a car. Nobody did
right,
this. Nobody did that.
right,
They did. They demonstrated, and I know it's a very delicate situation, so I'm trying to pick my words carefully. But I'm from New
yeah,
York, so that's probably not going to happen. So in Austin, there were no bad influencers, no bad players. It was like we made our little demonstration, we feel better, and next, I guess this coming weekend they're going to do it again. Dallas did the same thing. Boom, done. We said what we had to say, and everyone's like, we're good. In LA, what happened? What seems to be happening is, from what I'm seeing on the news, and to your point, I'm looking at the left, the right, the media, everybody. It seems that during the day, when it first started, people were just there with signs and yelling and screaming, no big deal. And then it seemed like something happened where one of the agents grabbed somebody who was yelling and screaming for whatever reason. Don't know. They could have been threat. I didn't, you can't tell because you're not in the front line. And then it seems at night what happens is that we seem to be bringing in other players, for lack of a better term. And the other players are the ones who are setting fires to the Waymo cars, which it's a Jaguar, nobody cares. And they're doing all this other stuff. And so that seems to be a different group of people than the people who are
right,
just there with signs and that are upset. So it seems, if you will, Austin, Dallas, I'm assuming the people that are protesting elsewhere are just the people with the signs going, we don't like you. We think this is wrong, blah, 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 blah. And the ICE agents are like, okay, like, we're all good. We're not, no one's going to do it. We're good and go home. In LA, it seems to be, we don't like you, but, and then the but part seems to be, we're bringing in these other people that are up and, burning things, overturning, like, the Watts riots of the 60s type of thing. So I get the point of where we need to have it stop and put it down immediately. Now, do we need to call in the Marines? Not really sure. National Guard, maybe. I know Newsom and Trump don't get along, the governor of California. So I think
Yeah,
part of
no,
what
no,
Trump is
yeah.
doing is
Arrest him.
he's flexing, and to a point, he is the president. I get what he's trying to do, and to a point, I understand Newsom's thing. But Newsom is it looks weak, and I think what Donald is doing, to Donald's credit, he's like, listen, we're gonna stop this, and we're gonna stop it now before it escalates. So I think there's both sides of the coin here.
There is, and I think I'm not taking away any facts from what is happening, who's upset about what, but it seems to have, this kind of thing seems to have happened more since January the 20th this year. That's all I'm saying. Why is this suddenly now a big deal? That's the first point I want to say. But the other thing is, you just look at this and you go, people, we've already established people like to fight. We do. We like to argue. Even when there's peacetime, we've for some reason, humans have got to argue. This is why you elect someone who has a fully developed prefrontal cortex, which prevents you, which helps you with what they call your executive function. So you don't just fly off the handle with everything. This is why, and they reckon it's supposed to develop in your early 20s. It finally pops into the front of your head or wherever it is. And you don't just knee jerk into things, and the hormone level is at a tolerable level, and you can operate. I mean, I'm not joking. This is serious. The executive function, which you get from the prefrontal cortex, is very important. It's a very it's a known thing, and I look at this whole situation and I go, I don't think any of these people have a fully developed prefrontal cortex. I don't think so, because instead of responding to everything, why does all this have to happen on social media? Let's say Elon and Don were not happy. Fine, they're having a fight. Stephen, if you and I had a little bit of tiff, we would get on a phone call. We go to a pub where you would smoke your cigar and have a scotch. We would sit down, we would talk, and it would get heated, and I don't know whatever, but it would be localized there, and then we'd come out and go, you fucker, everything's fine, everything's cool, and that would be the end of it. The world doesn't need to know all the shit that happened inside the pub. They just need you guys, the two people, just to get on or fuck off from each other. But this weird thing that's going on, I've never believed it was real anyway. I'll be honest with you. I watched them at UFC and things together. I'm like, hey, Don, I'm with the president. And there's nothing, it's very showy. It's not real. It's not how men interact. I'm with my mate sitting, we're chatting. I don't have to tell everybody, hey, look, I'm with Steven. It's just it's very childish. It's very lame, which is fine if you're from a mental asylum. Fine. But these two people, you got the richest man and the most powerful man in the world, and there they go. And unfortunately, when they sneeze, a hurricane happens. And that's the problem. That is the problem. If these were two guys that you knew somewhere, you'd go, God, what a bunch of idiots, and that would be the end of it. And you'd go, you guys need help, grow the fuck up, I don't know, beat each other up, get into a ring, fight it out, but we don't need this crap. We don't need this. This is not how men operate. Get in there, punch the lights out of each other, finish it, be done with it. But neither one of them, I don't think, has got the balls to throw a punch anyway. That's the problem. Maybe neither of them have been in a fight. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. But if I certainly know that the guy friends I have, we wouldn't communicate like this. If they were mates of mine, we wouldn't do this. We would sit down, we would, I don't know, and we'd sort it out. We'd fix it. Done. Get it done. This grudge crap is just ridiculous. This is what you teach your kids not to do. And now you've got the president and the richest man, and the problem, Stephen, is it filters around the world, and this is what kids and teenagers and 20-somethings look up to, and they go, oh, so this is how things work. No, this isn't how things work. This is not what being a man is about. Being a man is about just get your shit together. Of course you can cry. There's nothing wrong with crying, but or cry, have a cry, do whatever. But for the love of God, sort it out. Guys, go away, go to Camp David, go to the Bahamas, go to Antarctica, just go there, take some security people and
go to
sort
Mars.
Shit out. Just sort it out. Why do we have to be a part of this stupid fucking argument?
Yeah, I agree.
Grow up and do what you were elected to, get the job done, get the correct information, and by all means take the decisions you want. But if you just got to fly off the handle when anything happens and the knee jerk and we're going to get rid of the illegal immigrants, then you have the situation.
Right.
Then you have this.
Here's an interesting thing.
Fuck me.
Obama and Biden deported people as well, but they did it quietly and civilly. So to bring to your point earlier, the reason that we're having all this issues is because the way we're doing it is, we're carrying a big stick instead of doing it softly, like Teddy Roosevelt said. We're carrying a big stick and we're making lots of noise, which doesn't help. It's like I said, a lot of his policies, I agree with what they say. I don't agree with the way they implement them because it's wrong. And just because you have the power, like if I was president, I'm just like, we're going to get rid of these people, get rid of them, do it quietly, give them due process. This way, it's not a big deal. And at the end, like I always say, at the end of 12 months, I can go, hey, we cut this much out of the budget, or we got rid of this many illegal immigrants, and this is it, and do it that way. But the way they're doing it now is like, to your point, it's like they're trying to say, look, I'm a big man. I'm the big man. Stop with that, because you're tearing apart the country, which is bad. You're going to tear apart the world, which for us here at the Illuminati Lizard People Society, we're good with. So I'm happy. But I'm just saying, for America, you're tearing apart the country, and that's a bad thing. And unless you're trying to get like a civil law or a martial law before the 2028 election, so there is no election, and then you're king. So, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. But, that's it. And I know you have to go soon. So, did you have anything to say to the fans? Yeah.
I want to say this quickly. First of all, I've said it before. I said it on every podcast.
Yeah.
America is already great.
I agree.
It's fine. It's fine. It literally is fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you think this is wrong or that's wrong, travel. Stephen, am I right?
Travel is best education. Yeah.
Trust me, you've got almost fuck all to bitch about. Really. Yeah. And if you don't like it, you're welcome to leave. If you don't like it, if you hate America so much, fucking leave. The one thing I will agree with Trump on the right and the guys on the right, you got to stop with these people who not stop them, but no, I'm going to sound like Trump, but this crap where everybody is hating on America, you got to stop that shit. Mm-hmm. Be a patriot and criticize, but just say, I love America and this is what I want to fix. But make sure you get that word in there. Otherwise, fucking leave. Really, go. But I hate America and I hate this, then go. Because all you're doing is you fueling the argument of what people on the right are saying. Get the fuck out. Right. So if you say, "Oh, I hate what we're doing. I hate this. I hate America," no. Then leave. This what I've always admired, what I've always enjoyed about America is that imbued sense of patriotism. It's very healthy. Mm-hmm. It's very good. It's a good thing. And it needs to be, it's something that you share. You share positivity. You share it. That is what is attractive about America. It's supposed to be that positive vibe. This shit, where everybody moans about everything, and that's a very English thing. Don't do that. Please don't do that. It's not American. No, don't do that. Don't do that. There's no need. It's a great country. It really is a great country. It is a great country. We make them, it's fine. Stop picking fights with people that are your friends. You don't need to do that. If you don't like something, have a lunch, have a breakaway, talk like men do. You don't have to diss it out or have it out on social media. That's what kids do. That's what teenagers do. That's what you're supposed to be better than that. Why? Because you're supposed to have this hierarchy of human condition where we grow up. We look to older people, respect your elders. Why do we do that? Because they've gotten rid of all this meaningless shit and they've seen what life is about. You've got an 80-year-old man, practically 80 years old, behaving like a fucking teenager. That is not cool. He may have a point, and I've said there's a lot of things on policy we absolutely agree with, but then do that. Act like a settled man of gravitas, which is what the office is supposed to be. I want to say this quickly. Before I go, the thing with Terry Moran is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You've got a journalist who tweets about something in his personal capacity, about something about Trump and Stephen Miller. Whether you agree with it or not, he's supposed to have free speech. The way the way they reacted to that is ridiculous. If you don't like it, fuck him. Don't worry about it. Leave it. Why do you have to jump all over the guy for an opinion? Fuck off. An opinion is just opinion. What did they say? Everybody's like, they're like assholes. Everyone's got
an opinion, right?
Terry, the correct response from the president would be, if he's going to respond, which he shouldn't, is, you're a bit of a doofus. I'll see you on the golf course. Something like that. I don't care. Whatever. I mean, I have mates who say the most insane things. I got a friend of mine who's a flat earther. I rib him about it all the time. I don't agree with him, but I'm still going to have a beer with the guy. What the fuck? Why would that's what's life? Why do you fucker, you must agree with me. You said something bad about me. They must suspend you. Oh, fuck off. Really? Yeah. Honestly. And the fact that they suspended him, bad. Yep. That's really bad.
I agree.
Because now any journalist that says anything at any point in a pub, not even on X or whatever the fuck we're calling it now, anytime. We record him saying something because everybody's got a cell phone, and we heard him saying something on the tube, on the underground, and he said something bad about Trump. They must suspend him. Fuck off. Seriously. He didn't say it on ABC. He said it in his private capacity. You're allowed to say things. It's called free speech. The moment you incite violence, that's a different thing. The moment you pick up a weapon, that's different. But words, really? I don't like Donald Trump because blah, blah, blah. Stephen Miller's a shit. Okay. I mean, Stephen Miller said things about you and you go, yeah, fuck you, whatever. Now, the final thing I want to say is a military parade? Really? Really?
We're Russian,
kidding me? I want to say this about a military parade. It's a bad look. It is a really bad look. It does not make a country look strong. It makes a country look weak. It really does. And you can look at who does the military parades and who the fuck doesn't. And it's not a good look.
China,
I'm sorry.
And
it's
North Korea.
It's just when did tanks in the streets? Oh, fuck.
That's our beauty.
No, mate. That is
be great. It's gonna be great.
You see what is I'll tell you what makes you look really powerful. This is what makes you powerful. Is when people, so this is you, right? And people throw insults at you. You don't budge. You don't respond. Now people don't know what they don't know. So they're wondering. You're just sitting there, all stoic. That's a powerful look. Also, you want people to just imagine how powerful you are. Not open your fly and show them what a small dick you have, right? That's what you don't want to do. That's what you don't want to do. You just stand there as a stoic, strong, and they just imagine. And that's what you want. I'll tell you one thing that happened. It was a great TV show. I know you've got it there in the States, and I think it's on one of the channels there. But it's a British show, and it's called, well, Irish as well. It's called Mobland. Mobland.
Yes.
It's got fucking phenomenal show. Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren. Brilliant character. But there's one scene which summarizes everything, where I'm not going to spoil the story in case someone wants to watch it, but there's so Tom Hardy is a fixer. He's a fixer for a gang. That's what he does. And at one point, the big boss's son is doing something with his daughter. You imagine that his character is going to explode. And he's taunting him. This kid's taunting Tom Hardy's character. Yeah, I did this, I did that, I did that. Now, there's two ways he can respond. He can, and he decks him, and that, but that makes you look weak. He just goes up to him, he kind of like straightens his tie, and he just says, I trust my daughter. And if she wants to be with you, then that's then that's fine. I'm not going to question her decision. Totally disarms him completely. He can flatten him, but he's going, Stephen, it's okay, mate. And you're expecting me to fly off the handle, and I don't. Oh my God, that is scarier. That is super powerful. And that to me, maybe I'm wrong, but that to me is what America's always been. It just sits there. We can fuck you all up if we want, but we don't.
That's right.
So just behave. Now, that's what you want. You need one country in the world like that. And the guy with the buttons needs to represent that.
Yeah.
Does America have a case to respond to all sorts of things? Yes. But it doesn't. It just sits there going,
well, now we do. Now we respond.
Now, children, take it easy.
Yeah.
You know what can happen.
Yeah.
But they don't. But you don't get involved. You don't have to get involved. You just have to have this suggestion, this presence of power. It's much more powerful. You don't have to fucking put it on the streets. Why? What? And how many millions of dollars is that going to cost?
134, I think.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize it was much as that. Anyway, I'm just saying. so much for Doge, eh? Anyway,
Doge is really good because they said 172 billion and all of that was USAID, and now they're hiring back pretty much everybody they fired because they realized the government can't run. But who did the Doge was Al Gore. When Clinton was president, Al Gore cut, I think, about 200 billion or 300 billion or whatever it was from the budget. And he did it quietly, and they did it great, and the government ran. And that's why I said, like the concept, but they implement everything here wrong because it's all, I think, and listen, Donnie, you do it as you want. I think Donnie still thinks he's on The Apprentice, and it's not The Apprentice. And I think he's got to step away from that, and I think we're good. But I know you have to go.
Stephen, I got to go. I just want to say one thing. If he makes an announcement again, if he's got a big announcement to make, can I just make a suggestion? Can he do it? Does he have to have the entire posse with him, with charts?
Yes, have charts.
You look like a tool, and you look like there's something you got to. You're making up for something. What's much more intimidating is when it's one guy.
Yeah,
this is what I'm telling you. And this is what's going to happen. And it's also more authentic. It engages people.
One guy.
One guy.
One guy thing.
When you're surrounded by all sorts of people standing there wearing the same color tie as you, telling you what a big cock you have, it doesn't quite have the same effect. On the outside, you just look like a bit of a When it's just you, much more powerful. But you can ignore it. And I gotta go.
You got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next Wednesday. Rebroadcast on Friday. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Catch us wherever you get your podcasts or here on YouTube. Have a good week. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this Rolled Woods Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.